Okay, let's talk about a huge challenge in the global healthcare world. Engaging with healthcare professionals, well, it's absolutely essential, right? But it's also a total minefield of complex, ever-changing regulations. One wrong step, one tiny mistake can lead to some seriously massive penalties. So the big question is, how do you manage that risk? Better yet, how do you turn this high-stakes compliance game from a constant headache into a real strategic advantage? Today, we're going to dig into a platform called HyperFly that says it has the answer.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to walk that compliance tightrope together to really get a feel for the problem. Then, we'll talk about a different philosophy, building compliance in from the ground up, not just tacking it on later. After that, we'll explore what a compliance fortress actually looks like in action, see how AI fits into the picture, and then wrap up by looking at what this all means for the future of engagement. Sound good? Let's jump in. All right, let's get right to the heart of it. If you're in the pharma or healthcare space, you know this feeling. It's like every single day you're walking a high-wire act, trying to make progress while knowing that one little compliance slip-up could mean disaster. It's a ton of pressure.
I mean, this question really says it all, doesn't it? For anyone working in compliance or operations, this is your daily reality. You're trying to manage global projects, but you're also juggling this tangled web of international rules that seem to contradict each other and change on a whim. There's this constant nagging fear that you're going to miss something and that the consequences will be severe.
And this is why it feels so chaotic. The old way of doing things is this unwieldy machine that's basically held together by spreadsheets and sheer willpower. You've got fragmented processes, data living in a dozen different places, a patchwork of tools that don't talk to each other, and teams that are just buried in manual work. It's not just clunky and inefficient, it's incredibly risky. It leaves the whole company feeling exposed.
So what's the answer? Well, you don't try to slap another piece of tape on that broken machine. You need a completely new philosophy. You have to start over by building compliance in from the very beginning, not just bolting it on as an afterthought. Let's see what that actually looks like.
This analogy just nails it. Think about it. You would never build a whole house and then say, oh, right, we should probably add the foundation now. It's absurd. Compliance has to be the blueprint. It's the foundation. It's the structural beams. It's woven into the very design of your operations from day one to guarantee safety and integrity. And when you do that, the difference is just night and day. On one side, you've got the old way. Constant stress, juggling a bunch of different tools, putting out fires, and always reacting to problems. But on the other side, you have a single, proactive platform where compliance is automated. You move from a state of constant anxiety to one of genuine, confident control.
Okay, so this idea of a compliance fortress sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? What's going on under the hood to make sure this proactive, automated adherence is actually delivered? Let's take a look.
Well, the real secret is taking those compliance rules out of a dusty old binder on a shelf and embedding them directly into the way people work. It's no longer about hoping your team remembers to follow hundreds of rules. The system itself becomes the rule enforcer. It automatically applies the right procedures at the right time every time, making it pretty much impossible to go off-piste.
And it's not just one thing, it's a whole system of defenses. You can think of these as the core pillars holding up your fortress. You've got strict controls over the workflow itself, financial integrity checks, management of local spending caps, and even flags for individuals you shouldn't be engaging with. It's a multi-layered safety net. Let's zoom in on a couple of these.
First up, workflow enforcement. This is huge. It basically means you can lock in the exact sequence of steps for any process. The system then acts like a guardrail. It physically stops users from skipping a mandatory step or doing things out of order. It's not about reminding people, it's about making it impossible to do it wrong. You're basically engineering human error out of the equation.
Now, let's tackle a massive compliance headache, fair market value, or FMV. Figuring out the correct, defensible payment for a healthcare professional is unbelievably complicated. The rates change based on their country, their specialty, the type of event. It's a minefield. This system just removes all that guesswork. It automatically calculates and applies the right rate, giving you a transparent and defensible payment structure every time. That alone eliminates a huge area of risk.
But here's the tricky part, right? The rules are always changing. A new regulation gets passed in one country, and suddenly your whole process could be out of date. So a static fortress, no matter how strong, isn't enough. You need a system that's agile and can adapt on the fly. How do you do that?
This is where intelligent automation really becomes a game changer.
The goal isn't just to build a system that enforces today's rules. The goal is to create a living compliance system, one that learns and adapts to the rules of tomorrow, all on its own.
So, how does that work? Well, think of the platform's AI as this global watchdog that's constantly scanning for regulatory changes around the world. So when a new guideline is updated in Japan, the system doesn't just send you an email alert. It automatically updates its own internal logic. This means your workflows are always current, and your team is spared from that frantic last-minute fire drill to manually update everything.
And this is absolutely critical. This isn't just another tool that creates another data silo. It's built to be the central hub of your entire compliance ecosystem. It integrates with the tools you already use, like your audit and reporting systems. This creates a single, undisputed source of truth for all your regulatory data, which means everybody is finally working from the same playbook.
So, let's bring it all together. What does all of this actually mean for your organization? What's the real-world impact when you move from that manual, reactive mess to an automated, proactive system? Well, it's about completely changing the role compliance plays in your business.
At the end of the day, the biggest shift is from fear to focus. Instead of your teams constantly worrying about what might go wrong, they can have genuine confidence that the system is handling the nitty-gritty details. And that's not just about peace of mind. It's about reallocating your most valuable asset, your team's time and talent, away from policing and towards more strategic, high-value work.
And that's the ultimate transformation. When compliance is automated and truly built in, it stops being a handbrake that slows your business down. It actually becomes an engine for growth. You free your people from being process police so they can focus on what really moves the needle, building strong, meaningful, and strategic relationships with healthcare professionals.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. What if that thing that keeps you up at night, your greatest compliance risk, could actually be flipped on its head and become your greatest strategic advantage? By embedding this kind of intelligence and automation into the core of your operations, you can actually transform a source of fear into a solid foundation for growth.